Well, more questions than answers. That's how the Coalition's new nuclear power proposal has been received this week. And today, voters found out just how far away those answers might be.
The Coalition dropped its nuclear energy surprise this week, but there are a few crucial details missing.
So you won't know before the election how much nuclear energy we're going to get?
We'll be crystal clear on what we have planned for 2050.
The Coalition leader says embracing the yellow cake could be a panacea for our power problems.
It's time for an adult conversation about keeping the lights on and pushing power prices down.
Promising the plan comes at a fraction of Labor's renewable energy costs. But what the cost is, well, we still don't know.
Peter Dutton's got some plan that he won't tell you the cost of that might help in a decade or a decade and a half's time.
Nuclear. It's pronounced nuclear.
Then there are other details like where the waste will be stored and just how many reactors they're planning to build.
So we have done our planning and we'll be very explicit about our assumptions.
In another setback, the 5 states set to host his 7 reactors have responded with a unanimous radioactive rebuff.
We will do what we can to block his plans.
And we just will not stand for that.
Why on earth would we pursue it?
We've got a prohibition on nuclear power in the state.
No one in Collie wants to see a nuclear power station.
What if locals say no?
Well, I don't think that will happen, David, because we've got...
I'm sure you don't, but what if they do?
Also, the government doesn't actually own the coal-fired stations the Coalition is proposing to revamp into nuclear reactors.
In 6 out of the 7 sites, the owners have said they won't have it. So this policy fails at the first hurdle.
But the Coalition is undeterred.
The Commonwealth has ample power to compulsorily acquire that site with just compensation.
And Peter's promise to reel in the economy have him this week's preferred Prime Minister.
Peter Dutton is a contender, not a pretender.
I want to say to you, Peter, you've had a terrific week.
So, with the political parlay getting personal...
It might be the dumbest policy ever put forward by a major political party.
Is Australia ready to roll out the reactors, or is the opposition's nuclear power proposal an atomic waste of time? Well, Director of the Energy Futures Network at the University of Wollongong is Professor Ty Christopher. He joins us now. Ty, how realistic in your mind is this plan?
The biggest challenge that I have with what's being said, particularly by the Coalition at the moment about nuclear, is it's just not backed up by the facts in terms of the timing of when we could get this to happen here in Australia or anywhere else in the world, and also in terms of the cost of us going nuclear, in terms of what it'll do to our energy bills.
Are you anti-nuclear?
I'm not anti-nuclear, and I think it's very important to get that out there. It's more a case of wanting to have a truthful and accurate discussion about what's going on in our energy transformation here in Australia. The nuclear proposal from the Coalition just doesn't stack up in terms of the timing in particular. The International Atomic Energy Agency, the world authority on establishing a nuclear energy industry in your country, has a guideline. And that guideline says that it takes 15 to 20 years to establish a new nuclear industry in your country, and that's after it's actually been made legal. All of the information that we're seeing coming out at the moment says that they can establish a nuclear industry in less than 10 years here in Australia. It's just not stacking up, I'm sorry.
Well, there are a lot of details about the cost of transitioning to zero emissions that we don't have from both sides. Is it unrealistic to expect clear costs and information at this stage?
One of the things we have to go on in terms of costs is there's a report called the Gen Cost Report. It's put out by the CSIRO here in Australia, and it's been put out for the last 6 years. The Gen Cost Report clearly shows that nuclear energy, large-scale nuclear energy that's being proposed, is between 4 and 5 times the cost of the most expensive renewable sources of energy, that being offshore wind.
Professor, we know that nuclear power can deliver as much baseload power as you want with, practically zero carbon emissions. Why would we not want that as part of our energy mix?
I wouldn't say that we shouldn't have nuclear as part of our energy mix eventually. What I would say is we can't get nuclear to happen in time, given our current coal fleet is going to be gone within 10 years, and we can't get nuclear established in anywhere near that sort of time frame by the global standards that are in place. So what we need to do is leverage the fact that Australia is so blessed with a solar resource and a wind resource that's the envy of the world virtually. And so what we need to do is harness that and go on the journey to continue to decarbonise with renewables and give nuclear a longer time frame, perhaps to occur right at the end of our journey, or maybe by then more technology will come along and we won't have to go in that direction at all.
Hi, Christopher. Thanks very much for your time tonight.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.